Hello again.
Hey,
we got about 2 minutes into the last one, and something went wrong.
But that's all right, because we've practiced now. We're going to be so awesome.
Well, my hair is still a mess. And,
still look good.
Your notes are still a mess.
That's true.
So nothing really changed except the camera gave it quits, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So we're moving on.
But anyway, thanks for joining us on the Spotlight on Home podcast. So this episode, we figured we would talk to you about Christmas school. Now, a friend of mine, I interviewed her a few weeks ago, actually back in October for this episode, because her girls are a little bit older than mine. And so when we first moved here 9 years ago, she really mentored me. She was showing me how to put together a portfolio for Pennsylvania, because coming from the awesome state of New Jersey, where you don't have to tell anybody anything, to the terrible state of Pennsylvania, where everything is restricted, it was like a little intimidating. So she was really helpful, and she came alongside me and really like walked me through all the ridiculous rules. So she would always mention this thing she did with her kids called Christmas school. So when I talked to her a few weeks ago, I was like, all right, fill me in on what Christmas school is, because I know there's other moms that maybe want to do it, or, you know, it is that time of year where like you're busy with so many Christmas preparations similar to Thanksgiving, but you know, like you maybe don't know what that looks like, or how, if you're new to homeschooling, like how can you even incorporate like Christmas into actual learning? And actually it's pretty cool. It's really not hard.
Well, what I like about it is, you know, as a believer, those first few years you're really on fire. And then as time goes on, and then you start adding children to the mix, and the obligatory nature of Christmas starts to not overwhelm, but
you have to be careful, right?
Yeah,
you have to make sure
you only have
100%,
and if you start feeling it, and less, and I remember a few years ago, some years I was just like, man, I just don't feel it, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's taken care of, everything's good, but I don't have that warmth, that same thing. And when you keep putting your eyes on the prize over and over again through the season. That's why we used to celebrate the Advent season.
Yeah, well, we do that now, right? Like the Advent.
We just put our homemade wreath together. Mm-hmm. Kind of a mess, but it had been many, many years since I did it, so that's all part of it.
Yeah.
And through it, even through that project, a couple of them were not interested.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes. But you did it. You can kind of check the box, and then when you say look back at what we did, oh yeah, Dad, that's right, we did that. Oh Mom, yeah, we did that.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it all looks forward towards the holiday and the reasons for it, or the traditions, you know, depending on whatever it is you're into, just to keep that heart centered and leveled.
Yeah, so we thought we'd take this episode to kind of go through with you, and then any curriculum we mention, we'll just list it. Mm-hmm. Or link it in the show notes. We're not affiliated with any of these, so this is either what our friends use and they've told us about, or what we have used and we like, and so you can take it and run with it. One thing we bought this year, because she just came out with it, if you're it's called Exploring Nature with Children, and it's actually a really great resource. We use it during our morning time, and you can, each week she touches on a different theme in nature for you to kind of do an in-depth study with your children, and then she uses the Handbook of Nature Studies, and she gives you a poem and books for extension. It's actually a really thorough and very comprehensive piece of work, and it's like $19.99, I think. It's incredibly inexpensive.
It's like 90 pages.
I know, and I actually the Exploring Nature with Children is way more. It's a year-long curriculum. We used it in our co-op. A bunch of the moms all got the curriculum, so like every mom that had a kid in the nature class bought the curriculum, so it was completely legit. You know, we weren't like stealing from her or anything like that. And then we did like 5 classes. So one class was on, you know, the stories that we would tell that week. One was the actual, you know, take a nature walk and collect the thing. One, they had their nature journal and they would write in that. The next thing we do would be the science experience based on it. So anyway, Exploring Nature with Children is an awesome resource, and she just came out with one specifically for Advent. So we've been doing that every morning. We've been reading through Luke and the birth account, and then we've been reading poetry to them, and then doing the nature walks and like collecting the things. And so I wanted to kind of give you maybe some ideas that you can take and run with for Christmas school.
Right. Oh,
sorry.
My goodness, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and, don't be surprised, a lot like the wreath. I watched this morning as she read the poems, and a couple of the little guys, well, They were just. Are you gonna make it?
I'm gonna make it, I think.
Yeah. They just weren't gonna have it. The dog was just so much more entertaining than anything we had to say, including, whatever threats we were making. And but keep going. Keep going no matter what, because then it's always been what you've done.
Right.
It's always been what you've done. And that stuff will take time.
Yes. That's so true.
Wait.
I'm okay. I don't know why.
Do you need a glass of water?
No, I'm good.
Do I have to get up and show them that I'm wearing sweats
No, I'm sorry for coughing
under
in
my
your ear.
collared shirt?
No. So my friend Lisa was saying, so for Christmas school, she would just kind of end school a few days before like Christmas break. So let's say like the 15th or 18th, like depending on where, like when Christmas would land, she'd kind of give herself at least a week prior to the Christmas season starting. And so one of the things she said she used was Color the Classics for Christmas. I have never used it, so I don't really know too much about it. But then some other things she would do would be to read the Bible account of the birth, and that is what she would use for history. And then, for writing, she would have them write out Christmas cards. She would have them write out maybe thank you cards for their teachers throughout the year at their co-ops or at Sunday school. They would have maybe a creative Christmas writing assignment that they would send out with their Christmas cards. So each of the children maybe would write a paragraph on what's going on in their lives. And then she would incorporate that into like a family Christmas note to give to everybody. They would also study different traditions throughout the world and how they studied or how they would celebrate Christmas, so that that included geography and world culture. And that was a really fun thing too, because some of the traditions they'd learn about for different cultures, they might try, so that was something fun for them. For science, then she would have them maybe identify different conifer trees or evergreen trees or, non-deciduous trees and just see like how they fit. And then, of course, like for art, they would be making ornaments and just making regular crafts and decorations. And they would do, like for fine arts, you could study a composer like Tchaikovsky and then, read the story of the Nutcracker and then go ahead and maybe either catch a play live if you're able to, or you can go ahead and watch a Nutcracker movie and like listen to more Tchaikovsky. All
of which we've done. We've gone to the play.
Yeah, not all in one year, but over the course of many years. So we have a lot, like one good thing too is like we have a lot of great community theaters and they do some really fantastic plays that are not quite Broadway. We've taken them over the years to see
off Broadway.
Radio City Music Hall, and like obviously that's out for us now, but we've done all the things. We even saw Grinch on Broadway one year.
Oh, that's
years
right.
and years ago, remember?
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, so we've kind of tried to do it all.
We've seen The Rockette so close, I'd rather actually see it from further.
Yeah, they were better further away.
Yeah.
We saw them sweating. It was terrible. Yeah. So, yeah. Right?
It's just like, ew.
Yeah. It's like, wow, that's a lot of
makeup.
makeup.
Better from 40 feet away.
Yeah, definitely. So, there's some other things too. So for math, if you think about it, you can give gifts in a jar, and then that could encompass putting together a recipe, learning fractions, also giving gifts, thinking of others. You can just look up, honestly, on Pinterest, so many different activities for Christmas that would include counting. You can count the days till Christmas and, learn the days of the week that way too, and how to subtract. Like our boys right now are kind of doing that. Even my first grader is like, oh, there's only so many days left, and then tomorrow there'll be this many days left, and it's a very natural way because it's something they're excited about and looking forward to. It's a very natural way for them to look at the calendar and count back the days and just think about that. You can make paper chains for decorations.
A lot of this stuff is inexpensive.
Yeah.
When we haven't done in a while, but that would be good, and it's boys or girls, is isn't it friendship bread? Mm-hmm. Or you have the little chunks you break off.
Oh, monkey bread.
Monkey bread, and you give a starter dough to somebody.
Oh, that's yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but those are easy. You could gift it, put it in there, or put all the ingredients to most of a recipe, except the eggs and the oil, I guess.
Yes.
But nuts and flour and stuff, and gift that to them, and then when they make it, it's
from
thought you. Of you. That's a fun one for kids.
Right. Yeah, and then so one thing we do is, we could set aside time to do cookie decorating. Another thing my kids love to do is we got hold of, my parents were moving, and so they were getting rid of some of their extra Christmas decorations. So they had a bunch of mini trees, and so I took them, and then the kids claimed them for their own rooms. And so they all have a little Christmas tree set up in their room, and so for them that's a big deal. Like, they have their very own tree, and so they can make little ornaments. We've made ornaments with, if you take equal parts cinnamon and applesauce, so like, let's say 2 cups of cinnamon and then 2 cups of applesauce, and then say a tablespoon of glue, like Elmer's glue, mix it all together. You can roll it out and then use cookie cutters, and you can cut out shapes of the ornaments that you want. And don't forget to put like a hole in the top, but then you can bake them at like 200 degrees for, I don't know, maybe
200 forever.
And then they'll eventually get hard, right. And then they smell really, really good. And then
the whole house smell good.
And they use red yarn or twine and stuff, and you can like even make those and attach them as gifts, and add glitter to them.
My advice is, when you set the tree up, do that activity as soon as possible before it's decorated with socks and underwear and.
Maybe their tree isn't. Maybe they have high class trees, but we have a toddler who they hung the dog collar on it.
Oh,
anything that could be hung got hung on our tree.
The spatula will be stuffed in there.
Yeah, we're very special.
You never know.
Some really cute things, especially for grandparents, would be like if you got like brown or white, like butcher paper, wrapping paper, and you can, take their little footprints or their handprints and have them make their own wrapping paper with it, and it kind of becomes a little bit of a special way to wrap it.
That's a good
one. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. You can make your own garland. Let's see. Oh, there was a stained glass that they made. Like, they could take a window and then paint the window with a Christmas scene. I've not been that brave, because I'm sure my kids would just wind up painting the walls, and like, let's just be real about that. But
or shattered glass.
If you or broken glass. So, if you have calm kids, that might work for you.
They're out there. I've seen them.
But they're not in this house, so that probably wouldn't work. But there's like so much stuff, and you can really, you could talk about, again, like, doing the Advent and the birth of Christ, and counting down, and what Mary must have felt like, and how scary that must have been, and putting your trust in the Lord, and even when you don't understand, and there's so many lessons that can be learned this time of year that you don't have to sit down and do like real.
It doesn't
like
have to be
hardcore
regimented work.
Yes.
Because it won't feel like work
right.
to them. So
right.
It's definitely a nice change of pace for them. And then, once that new year and all the fog of the holidays clears, they're almost refreshed and ready to actually start back with the routine again. And then you got looking forward to spring,
Yeah. Some other, like, you could do too is like, if we have bird feeders, so make sure the bird feeders are full, or you can even make your own bird feeders with the pine cones and peanut butter, right? Or Crisco, and then hang them up outside so that birds have some stuff. And then you can even take that a little further too, and like get the bird book out, and you can journal what birds you notice and look them up and see, like, do you have a favorite bird, and what do the feathers look like? And then they could sketch the bird that they find, and after they identify it, and learn, like, okay, is it migrating, or is it here for the winter, or where does it usually live, if it's just passing through? And there's so many lessons you can take and stretch, really, and we mentioned in our previous podcast too, like, we have the Advent calendar, and every day they like pick a little note. So like, just on Saturday we went to a historical farm nearby, and we learned all about the Dutch and German traditions of Christmas that would have happened in our area in Pennsylvania in the 1700s, and what that would look like, and how they got ready for Christmas, and what they talked about, and their customs and traditions, and
the Belschnickel.
Oh yeah, that's scary man. But you can also do, we have, when we pull out all our Christmas decorations, I have a special basket just for Christmas stories. And so, there's those things that we do too. And so there's the Christmas stories, and then we have like the Christmas movies that we like to do. And like it's just a nice time of year where you can kind of get away from the textbooks, if you will, and really just live life and just incorporate so much learning into that time period and make it festive and play the carols. And you could even learn like, hey, why was this carol written? And well, what's the tradition behind lighting candles? What does that mean? And what's the tradition behind a Christmas tree? Like, where did that come from? Those Norse pagans.
For instance, I mean, a real easy one I learned just at the farm. They have an old schoolhouse, and they have a period piece teacher, going over the whole thing. And she was discussing how a lot of these Christmas songs, like Jingle Bells, the non-Christmassy ones, they were sung at every season.
Oh, yeah, they have carols.
Way back. Yeah, they had
every
season carols.
Right.
And some of them were left over for winter because I guess there was a lot of nothing else to do.
Yeah, there are midwinter carols.
And they all kind of got blended into the Christmas mix-up once, Christianity took over the middle. Yes. And it that became all synonymous. But I don't know any spring carols.
I bet if we look through church history, well, probably like Easter ones, Hallelujah.
Yeah, I suppose.
One thing we did, actually, we haven't done it this year, but last year we did Messiah. So we would listen to Handels Messiah, and then I would read to them a section of the Bible, and then we would listen to about 5 minutes worth of the Messiah, and then keep going. There's also... And
dads, you can listen to it in the car because it's only... Each piece is only about 3 minutes long. Yeah. It doesn't take long. Yeah. It's just you digging in and you're listening to it too. And you can go over the study material real fast. So you're not missing out and you can discuss these things with your kids. Yeah. Even when you're not there.
Right. Yeah. And of course, there's always outside nature walks and gathering up decorations that, at Quiet Valley, the historical farm, they would fetch Christmas. So she'd go out into the woods and bring back the decorations that she needed. So, you could do that. Take a nature walk and fetch Christmas and bring back the pine cones and the chestnuts and the different walnuts and all.
It was funny because they make the ornaments the old way.
Oh, chicken bones.
They had chicken wishbones,
right?
Yeah. They'd paint them gold and hang them on the tree, which I thought in a weird way was kind of morbid, but I mean, that's only because I'm a modern man. Right. But and the cookies were very, very basic, and I guess there was a lot of salt in them, and it was raining when we were there, and they were kind of disintegrating because the moisture was gathering in. But I guess you just bake a fresh batch, and they had these very beautiful handmade stars.
Yeah, Moravian stars.
They were 3D. They weren't just flat. Very cool stuff. And you can do all that with your kids.
And they would take Christmas cards that they would get and they would cut them out and then they would embellish them. And then they would hang those and make them into ornaments too. And so it was really
And the Christmas villages that we all get, those ceramic ones,
yes,
the puts.
They call it the puts.
And they had some very elaborate ones, much more. I mean, we can buy beautiful ones, but they had some amazing stuff that is all handmade.
Yeah.
And super detailed.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do with them, too, is I love to read The Little House. There is one book. It's a collection of all the Christmas chapters in all of the Little House series books compiled into one book. So I pull that out at Christmas time. So that's a fun thing to read. And then actually, Little House on the Prairie TV show has a Christmas special that takes clips of all of those stories and kind of has it in a little movie too. So I've done that with them over the years. We have different books that we'll read based on, different customs. Like we just read the other night, the what was it? A Pennsylvania Dutch Christmas. They read to us at the farm, and it was really cute.
I want to buy it. That was so.
It was so cute, but it was perfect for the region and demographic that we live in, so it was like relevant to how we live here. So it was really cute.
And yesterday we went to a little model train museum. It was a little tight quarters, and too bad because our 2-year-old had a really hard time seeing. So
it was because they had 2 levels, which I appreciate. They wanted to show you more, and the artistry is amazing. But it was really hard for the little guys to see, so we kind of were like hefting them up, I should say, and like trying to get them to see the top thing in the middle of like there's 9 of us kind of milling
Right.
through all at
We're
once.
quite the
and
blob.
it was, it was a
I
little
will say
tough,
this,
but
though. From the 20-year-olds all the way to the
They
toddler.
were all interested in it.
Even though, with the little hiccups we had, they all really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And we got a good testimony from each and every one.
Yeah, they loved it.
And I was a little surprised, actually, at that
Yeah.
it came from each of them. But
It
each was
cute.
grateful. Each was
Even
being-
the baby last night, I was putting him to
Yeah.
bed, and I always ask him, like, did you have a good day? And he was like, yes, I see the trains. I see the choo-choos. And
He even
loved
pulled the
it. It was so
caboose
sweet.
off one of the moving ones.
Yeah, well,
and I
that's
had
how
to
we
give
roll.
it to one of the fair conductors.
Because, we
there.
can't leave without destroying
right.
something.
Sure,
We left our
sure.
mark.
We don't
Our
know
work
whether-
is done here.
Yeah.
They didn't
Right.
ask us to leave,
Nothing
though,
burned
so that
down.
was cool.
So, right.
Yeah.
Right.
One day we're going to be
And of course, we
so
spent an incredible time in the
model
bathroom.
citizens. Yeah, ridiculous. I'm like
as
halfway
always.
through. Like, where is everyone?
Got to go back
Yeah.
through the crowd.
I know, right?
It's only
It's only 30
fish
minutes
going
from here,
upstairs.
so it wasn't even like hours away.
Ah.
And everybody went before we left. Then they went once while we were there, and then we went once before we left. Then they went again when we got home. Like, what in the world?
I don't know what that.
But
Small,
Corbett's.
the one guy said, "Little kids, little tanks."
oh, that's cute. Did that make you feel better?
I did actually. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for now. We don't want to keep you too
Mm.
long because I know this is such a busy time of year. But we hope you've been blessed by this. And, if you think of some fun activities too that you guys do, we would love to hear about them too. Or things that you do for school that you count as school.
Right.
We did go over a few things too from the Thanksgiving episode. So if you haven't heard that, go back and look for Doing School Thanksgiving Week because there's a lot that you can do. Yeah. I didn't want to mention it again, like, practicing manners and table etiquette and all that stuff, but go back and listen to it if you haven't heard it yet, and you can totally incorporate so much of that into Christmas school as well. So have an awesome week, you guys.
Very good. Thank you for
Thanks
being
for
here.
listening.
Any of those ideas, mention them on Facebook or Gap or whatever it is.
Please share this too, because
Yeah.
the word is getting out and we're gaining
Yep,
a lot of
we're
traction,
getting
which we
listens,
appreciate.
yep.
Like, you have no idea. But also head over to Spotlight on Home and you can grab our 10 tips to start homeschooling now, or you can get on our wait list. We're working on behind the scenes to get you some really awesome material. So if you are interested in that, you can go ahead and sign up for that and get on our wait list, and we'll keep you posted as some stuff comes out. Right now I'm working on helping a mom go from complete chaos and overwhelm to having a homeschool of her dreams. And we'll get you there. And I'm coming up with the methods. I think I got it all nailed down now, and I just have to record it, and I will let you know as soon as that's available, hopefully in 2 weeks. That's
Very
my
good.
goal. But
Thanks for
anyway.
coming.
All right. Have an awesome week, you guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.